Welcome, everybody, to the market close. It is Wednesday afternoon. Got about 15 minutes left on the market. It is great to see you all. It seems like a forever since I last saw you. Well, Sunday. We will, of course, because I said we'll give you an opportunity to have a market close on Friday. So, once again, if we get four supers through the course of this afternoon, we'll throw up a bonus one on Friday. So, that'd be a really cool one because that's not only the last Friday of July, but it's the beginning of the Canada Day weekend. So, whew, you guys have any plans for Canada Day this year? Let me know in the chat. I am definitely super curious about that. Over on the market, we have a red day. So let's pull it up. Let's take a gander here. So we have the TSX. It's not down a lot. Like it's not a horrible red day. Like quite honestly, when I was doing up the thumbnail, I was like, okay, do I go with the bear? Do I go with the bull? Is it gonna slick back into the green? So I said, let's just do both. And that's why the thumbnail has both today. But we've stayed in the green, negative 0.13%. The S&P 500, well, they're technically in the red, but look at that. They're at 0.00%. So they're pretty flat. Oh, now they're red. Now they're red. Now they're red. The NASDAQ, once again, same kind of idea. Like you can't, basically, it's been a very, very flat day for sure. Gold is down almost a full percent. Silver's down about 0.5%. WTI down a tiny, tiny bit. And Bitcoin is down a full 1.67%. Bitcoin's been on a little bit of a ride lately. So it's been, mostly down, Like if you can see over here, this here is the Bitcoin. Yeah, look at this. Since about here, we've been in this very downward trend. So we'll have to see if that will get itself turned around, which is funny because when you look at Bitcoin, there's a lot of the exchanges don't have very much. So there's a little bit of a shock, but we have had that shock has sort of been alleviated a little bit with the miners because as the miners are waiting for Bitcoin's price to reflect the fact that we've had the halvening, some of them have had to sell off Bitcoin to survive. So that, of course, is causing a little bit of that downward pressure. So this will look a little bit better probably within the next couple of weeks, definitely within the next couple of months, because it does take a little bit of time after a shortening before we start to see any positivity. Okay, let's go to the heat map. It's actually not that bad for a red day, but we're not very deep in the red. So we got a little bit of green here. The railroads, both CNR and CP, looking a little bit better. Routers is up a little bit. Enbridge is up 1.26%. Who is this? It doesn't even show me the name, but whoever they are, they're up 2.19%. GFL Environmental. So there are some winners out there today. The banks, some of them are down. Well, they're mostly down. Royal Bank's down. BMO's down. What can I say? Alimentation Couche-Tard. Yeah, they're down 2.77%. Now, of course, they've been in the news with a little bit of a shakeup at the management level. So there's definitely going to be a little bit of uncertainty. And this may be some opportunities, some buying in opportunities if you guys are looking to do that. Over on the heat maps, VFE once again still up top. So still doing its thing. The war between VEQT and XEQT, well, they're both just down a little bit. VEQT is technically winning it because they're only down by 0.05 compared to that 0.07. So that's not too shabby. All right, and let's take a look at the U.S. market. Over in the U.S. market, three. Look at these three standing out. We got Apple, 1.98% up. We got Amazon, 3.82% up. And we got Tesla, 4.98%. Do you guys know, and I think you do, what these three stocks have in common? Well, I'm not gonna make you wait in case you don't know, but they're all part of the Magnificent Seven. So just kind of a fun little thing. Now, NVIDIA, they're down a little bit, down 1.01%. Whew, well, let's go to crypto. All right. As we said, Bitcoin down 1.61%. Who's this here? Oh, Avalanche. They're one of the few ones that are up. And you can see a spiral of red down there. Uh-oh. I need to switch my mouse. Eek. If everything shakes a little bit, it's because I am switching my mouse because this one here has my glide. There we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, let's find us. Eeks. All right. All right, here we go. Let's find a coin I've never heard of before, and we'll look at that. What the banana bread is that thing? It's like a peace symbol twice. All right, let's take a look. Nano. So here's the nano coin. Not doing so well. It's in the red. 88 cents USD. If any of you hold nano, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you. So this is my coin of the day that I have no clue what it is. Never heard it. Anybody who does know about nano, feel free to drop it in the chat. But this is my crypto coin of the day, or actually the unknown crypto coin of the day. Sort of like the unknown soldier or the unknown comic who used to wear a paper bag on his head. There we go. That's the crypto that should be doing that. All right, let's get back to the chat. All right, we're going to jump all the way up here. We've got a super sticker from Mechanics, and it's the coffee one. So I got to do 3D coffee. Woo, woo, woo. Here we go. Awesomeness. And a huge thank you to Kevin and Kaz. Definitely love it. Love it. You guys are awesome. All right, let's get back to the beginning. And 9 was in first with her unholy banana bread. Hey guys, it's banana bread in a t-shirt. There we go. I've got to mention this to Adrian. I have not yet, but I will definitely do that. Kiev says, okay. Oh my God, feeling so dumb. Was up 1,400 today and then proceeded to enter a sell order wrong and sold stock for way less and lost 1,000. Oh, I think that has happened to everyone. There have been times where I wanted to buy because it was low and I accidentally hit the sell button when I went in. And then I'm like, no, I just accidentally sold at a loss. It happens to all of us. Holy banana bread. And yeah, so welcome to the market close. There we go. Let's see. We've all goofed up, including the Oilers. Don't even get me started. Oh man, I bought into the Oilers. I was ready. I was ready to bring the cup home to Canada, but they can still be proud. I think what they did was amazing. I'm still proud of them. I have no problem with even though we didn't get the cup, would have been better if we did. I'm okay with it. They did fantastic. All right. Dividend capture on YTSL and got out in the green. Nice. Yeah, YTSL. Sometimes you can get some pretty good dividend captures on that ETF. All right. Vic is about to hit the road and make a quick run before 4. Yes. Those of you who are like going, wait a minute. Why did it say that we're starting at 4? I was kind of on auto drive, I think, when I was setting it up, and where the this week starts at 4, I just absently put 4 in, and I didn't even realize it. Otherwise, I would have fixed it right away. Quite literally, I came about 10 minutes before the stream was due to start, and I looked, and it was showing me a wrong time. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Uh-oh. So I was like, yikes. So yeah, and at that point I'd already linked it, so I don't even know. It lets me start early anyway. So we're all here, and I think you guys are smart enough to realize if we're doing a market close, we kind of need to be here for the bell. We can't start it after the bell. All right, Bleak says greetings, and we got Mary in the house with a hello all. And speaking of Mary, it is time, guys, for you guys to hit that like button if you haven't yet. I'm going to take a sip of coffee while you guys hit the like button, and I'll let you know if I taste any blue. I don't know if that was blue I tasted, but it was definitely goodness. Um, anyway, yeah, the whole thing with the like button, it's an algorithm thing. It sends it out so everybody. Actually, that's one way that new people can discover the channel, which is kind of cool. Speaking of getting numbers up and getting some of them subs coming in, here's a cool thing. We have passed 3,900, so we're less than 100 now to that 4,000, which means we're getting closer to that all-day stream. Oh, holy banana bread, that's coming. It's coming really fast. And we got some good vibes in the house. I knew I felt something. If I felt good vibes, that's it. Good afternoon, gang from Kiev and Kaz. Sammer says, I bought SMR and NNE today. Ah, yes, the dip. The dip. Nothing wrong with buying on the dip. That's for sure. Prairie investors in the house with a good afternoon, everyone. Listening in as I work. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Marco is in the house with a hey, everyone. Marco says, my Canadian dividend stocks are getting smoked, but all good. Let's go. Yeah, it's not the best day. I mean, it could have been much worse, but, let's hope we get some green towards the end of the week. Ride the green wave into Canada Day. That's what I'd like to see. Marco says, I learned to slow down my orders. Accidentally did a sell instead of a buy once as well. Now I always double check. I've caught a couple of errors. Well, you know what the carpenters say? Measure twice, cut once. So that's maybe a good, it's probably a good axiom for everybody, whether it be a carpenter, an investor, hopefully a surgeon. It's like double check. Make sure you're supposed to be amputating the right leg. It's like, oops, I'm on the left leg. Yeah, that would suck. But there have been accidents like that before. All right, we got Andy in the house. Hi, all. Hello, Andy. Always good to see our friend from Europe. And we got Jersky in the house with a hello. All right, and Marco is saying, I picked up some BCE today. Good idea. I'm okay on the BCE. Like, even if they're not at the bottom yet, they're close. They're close. And I do think within a couple of years, especially if we get some more rate cuts, BCE, TELUS, and even Rogers, and we'll add in Quebecor as well. They should be rising. They should be looking a lot better. Now, I will point out that we had, of course, our CPI that came out yesterday, and it wasn't, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Inflation came in a little bit hotter. We were expecting 2.6. And it came in at 2.9. So that's one more reason why we shouldn't get a rate cut in July. We still do have one more CPI before that July 24th meeting. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it's one of these things. A lot of that price that we were seeing in the CPI was because of basically the cost of services have been going up. So it's not, it's not like dire, but it was hotter than expected. So it is something to keep in mind for sure. All right, we got about a minute and 10 seconds before the bell. So I don't want to breach up. We have a topic as well. We're going to talk a little bit about WestJet on the other side of the bell, which will be fun. The channel members have selected a video for, the next video for Friday. It's the channel members' choice. So the channel members every month get to choose the last video of the month. And this time around, finally, this has been one that they have been voting on for a long time. It comes up pretty much every month. But what we're looking at is international ETFs. So I got a video coming out on Friday about international ETFs. Now, I will point out, this one is not me saying, okay, let's look at the ETFs that are available over on the UK market. Right now, for the first one of these international series, I guess the international series, we're going to look at international exposure that you can get right here in Canada on the TSX. So we're looking at Canadian ETFs that invest in a basket that includes either maybe European, maybe Asian, maybe emerging markets, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, it is bell time. Oh, where's my bell? Here it is. All right. The market is closed. And Jersky is saying summerflation. Yeah, summerflation. Well, it is true. Now, when you look at the airlines raise their prices in the summer. So that will that's part of summerflation for sure. Tourist places where there's a lot of tourists coming in the summer, those prices go up. I'll give you an idea. If you go to Nova Scotia, there's this beautiful place in Cape Breton called the Cabot Trail. Here's a hint. If you're ever going to the Cabot Trail, don't plan to go to the restaurants because they have got you where they want you. There's no competition. They can charge over prices. So you're going to pay a lot. So what I say is if you're doing a nice little drive, like maybe a 2-day drive around the Cabot Trail, pack some lunches, bring it with you, save yourself some money because they will get you if you don't. They will absolutely get you. Very, very, very expensive. But maybe you want that. Some people are like, I still just want to experience the food that's there. What I would say is the food is just as good in the rest of Cape Breton as it is on the Cabot Trail. So do some dining, like in a kind of like in a fishing community, like Discoos or something. But anyway, that's just a little bit of a piece there on that. Now, WestJet. So I talked a little bit about WestJet. So the WestJet Mechanics have been threatening, they've been looking at a strike. And last week they had served a notice to go on strike, and they were eligible to start striking as early as last Thursday. On Wednesday, before that happened, WestJet was already canceling flights. That's, because they were anticipating the strike. But it looked like things were going. It looks like there was some communication happening. So the mechanics pulled back their notice to strike, and they went back to the negotiation tables. Well, holy banana bread. They haven't really gotten anywhere. There was one offer that was made by WestJet, and they turned it down. And then WestJet said, how about we just go to binding arbitration? And they turned that down. And, well, it's not gotten any better. So what has happened is the mechanics have served, once again, a new strike notice. And I believe this time they're eligible to begin striking on Friday if nothing happens. So we could still get a WestJet strike. It looks like it's back on the table. It's like doing the hokey pokey. You put your foot in, you put your foot out. Yeah, you turn it all around and you strike it all out. Something like that. I don't know. Mario says, good afternoon. We got Al in the house. Good day. Good to see you, Al. And Bill is saying, I was on the Cabot Trail with my parents in 1977. Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I've done the Cabot Trail. I've only done the Cabot Trail once. Insanely beautiful drive. I got to see lots of oceans, lots of views, lots of vistas, and coyotes. There were coyotes along the side of the road, a few different places, but insanely beautiful. Definitely. If you're going to do a vacation in the East Coast, that's probably something you want to do. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's take a look at our final look at the market. And we'll pull this back up. Whoops. Let's get out of the singularity and we'll head back over. Well, some positivity in the US. So the TSX, they still finished in the red, not deep in the red, so negative 0.1. But look at this, both the SPX and the NASDAQ, SPX, the S&P 500, they both have moved back into green territory. So the S&P 500 up 0.16, NASDAQ up 0.06. Still pretty, I'd still call that flat though. Gold still in the negative 8.77, silver negative 0.36, WTI and Bitcoin. Everything pretty much in the red. That's a market for you. That is a market for you. Looking at that heat map one more time, nothing has really changed since the last time we looked at it. There's a lot of negativity here, But let's take a look and see who actually were. Well, let's get rid of the negatives. We'll get rid of those negatives and take a look and see who has actually done well today. So we got Enbridge and we got routers. Dollarama is only down a little bit. CNQ slowly creeping back up. So not too shabby, not too shabby. Let's actually get rid of a few more. There we go. Now we're going up to the bigger winners, the bigger winners. So look at this. Oh, this was this London Mining. There we go. London Mining not doing too shabby. They've had a pretty good day. So London Mining up 3.44%. Not too shabby. ERO. Who is that? That's a copper. So it looks like I'm starting to see a pattern. There's copper. Who is it? Somebody here is up 4.96%. I don't know who it is. Oh, Galaxy Digital Holdings. Okay. So we've had a few that have done okay. So that's not too shabby. All right. And as we said, VFV is almost always going to be up. If the S&P 500's in the green, you're pretty much guaranteed that VFV is going to be in the green as well. XEQT actually won the war between them and VEQT, the all equity battle. So that's kind of cool. With the US, Apple did get up to a full 2% up. And once again, Apple, Amazon, Tesla still holding everything as is. Not too shabby. Looks pretty good. And crypto. We do have Ethereum now, and we have Solana up. And I mentioned as well to the guys on this week, 3IQ is actually applying to do a Solana ETF. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't think it won't be officially called a spot ETF, but it would be an ETF. And they're also going to look at, because Solana has staking, that staking pretty much is going to turn into dividends on this fund once they get the approval. So we'll have to see. Everybody thinks it's pretty close to being a done deal. So that'll be interesting. So Canada will once again, Canada had the first Bitcoin ETF. Canada had the first Ethereum ETF. And Canada will have the first Solana ETF. So not too shabby there. Okay, let's, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. All right. Prairie says, drove the Cabot Trail last summer. Nice. Yeah, very, very nice. Hopefully it wasn't too smoky. Because, last summer, there was a lot of smoke coming towards the east from Quebec. And then also Nova Scotia had a ton of smoke, although most of it I don't think was flowing north. I think it was more or less going out to sea. So what can we say? And we got Amvas. I shared your channel with a friend who is retired, and her advisor will transfer to annuity by age 71 because she's single. Appreciate better options if this is not the best. Thanks in advance. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We will talk. We will talk. All right. What was I going to say? So we got a lot of stuff coming up pretty soon. Our next 0 to 100K challenge is coming up pretty much in 2 videos. So that'll be the first one on, is it July 2nd? I think July 1st. I think July 1st is the Monday. So yeah, July 2nd, the 0 to 100K, we'll have that one coming out. And then we have, and just, so let you guys know, there's a vote going on right now for the next bonus ETF. So we're going to do another ETF deep dive. That will be next Friday. And it's between only two ETFs. So we got PDIV and XEI. Now, last time I looked, XEI was winning. So those of you who are PDIV fans, you got to vote. You got to head over to the community tab, get your votes in. Let's make this a close one because that would be kind of fun. But one of them is going to get a deep dive, and the other one is, depends on who it is. If it's XEI that loses, they'll still come up in the next vote because they haven't had their time. But this is PDIV's last chance. They may come up again, like, somewhere a few months or so down the road or whatever, but this is their last chance to get that deep dive. So if you're a fan of PDIV, or if you like both, you might want to lean towards the PDIV. It's up to you, but it's up to you guys. You guys get to say exactly what there is. So That's going to be kind of fun. All right. 9 says, is there any tax advantages to annuities? I rather just create my own income in the TFSA and non-registered in retirement. Yes, I would say creating your own income via your TFSA is the better route right around the board. So I would go that route. I think you're on the right vein there, 9. And Jonathan says, so close to the 4K subscribers, how will you fill a market open to close live stream? That's a good question. So most of it'll be live. I mean, it'll still be streaming live, but I am going to prepare a few videos, like a few segments that I can play while I go, for example, to have a bathroom break, or where I can go and quickly eat a sandwich at the speed of light. So we'll have a couple little things like that, but those will be prepared right away, sort of prior. And here's the funny thing: I was kind of thinking, like, I can pretty much film it as though almost like I'm still here. It'll almost feel like I'm live with these couple little pieces. But for the most part, I will be here. I will be drinking a lot of coffee. I will. Speaking of coffee, yeah. So I'm gonna figure a few things out. Like I still have a little bit of time. At least I think I have a little bit of time. You never know; anything can happen. That is good. So yeah, there will be. There'll be a lot of different things. I'll even throw this out to you guys. If any of you want to drop on, like actually drop on and say hi, that would be the time to do it. Just talk to me ahead of time. Like reach out to me on Discord if you want to do that. I'd be all open for that. So there'll be a lot of because what's beautiful is if I have somebody popping in, then we could have a conversation, and that gives my voice a chance to rest. So that's not a bad thing. But I'm looking at just what I can do. I'm going to have to prepare a lot of different content. So, and I'm also going to look at seeing if we can actually bring in some news feeds. I'm going to see which ones I can bring in that won't have a copyright issue, because I'd love to be able to sort of, react to live news as well at the same time a little bit throughout the day, or, something like that. So I have to look into that. But there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to do for that stream. And as I said, it's looking like it's no doubt it'll be July, because, we pick up, we definitely have, like, a bad month, we only pick up 100 subs. So that alone would give us that stream. So as soon as I have a clear picture, I'll come up with a tentative date, because I'd love to get it. I can't wait to see it on the schedule. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, so that's coming up pretty darn soon. All right, and speaking of live streams, we do have the opportunity to win a bonus stream for Friday. So basically 4 supers. We already have one. The very generous Kevin and Kaz dropped a super sticker earlier. Here it is, right here. Woohoo! Love that. All right. Oops, I gotta unstart. There we go. But yeah, so it's gonna be a fun stream. And then once we've done that, then all eyes are on 5,000. And 5,000 is kind of a bigger number in a way. So then I have to figure out what the banana bread can I do for that. I haven't even begun to think about that yet. Right now, I'm still focused on the 4,000, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, well, you might as well start thinking, or just, at least get the back of my head going, maybe subconsciously, about what can we do at 5,000. So we will have to see. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, which is great. Definitely great. There was something else that I saw. I was trying to think. I thought there was something else I saw in the news that I wanted to bring up, but just give me a second. I'm going to take a gander here and see what we got. There we go. Oh, right. The election. So we had that little by-election that happened there on Monday in the heart of Toronto. So we're talking hardcore liberal territory. No way the conservatives can win there. No way. And even the conservatives were thinking, and a few of their interviews, they're like, "Oh, we just want to show well. We want to do better." Because normally, I think the best they've been able to do in the last long amount of time is be within about 8%. So they were hoping to just get in a little bit lower than 8%. But look at this, they won. So the conservatives managed to beat the liberals in that core riding. If there is ever been proof that Mr. Trudeau really needs to step down, we've had it. We have had it. Here's the thing, and I'm going to give you some opinion here. So this is pure opinion. This is what I think is going on with Trudeau. For one, he's just got this ego, and I think somehow in his head he's thinking to himself, there's got to be a way I can pull the next election out. What can I do to win these people back? Well, the answer is nothing. I think it's, I don't think he's gonna be able to do that. But here's the thing. I love, I love it when I don't want a blowout election. I like it when we have a healthy opposition. And right now, under Trudeau's leadership, I think we're going to get a situation where, it's going to hurt the overall party. Whereas if he were to resign and step down, let somebody else take the ropes. And when I would say, make sure it's not somebody who everybody knows, like a certain deputy prime minister, somebody new, somebody who can be a new face for the Liberal Party. Do it sooner than later. So I would say before the end of this year, definitely, because then that gives that person, a little bit of time to distance themselves from Trudeau. They're still not going to win the election. That's pretty clear. But I think the Liberals can then start to do a little bit better, because a lot of people, I know I was listening to a lot of the interviews. The liberal girl, Church, she was saying that a lot of the doors she went to, people they weren't upset with her. They were upset with Trudeau. And she thinks she lost a lot of votes just because of that. So if that is what is happening, well, it's time to get rid of him. It is time to change up your leadership. It's time. And I'm hoping that once it settles in, that even if Trudeau doesn't want to go, the party starts to sort of get together and say, okay, it's time. It's time. You've been around for 10 years, and, people, it's just changed. I mean, not many prime ministers have been around for more than 10 years. Harper wasn't around for 10 years. Mulroney wasn't around for more than 10 years. If I remember correctly, I think one of our longest prime ministers was William Lloyd Mackenzie King. I think he broke 10 years. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. I'm just going by something I remember. So something to keep in mind. All right, Mario says, I want a recount for the votes. I'm actually really surprised that I haven't heard anything about a revote yet, but or a recount, but I'm almost surprised. I'm almost surprised that the Liberals haven't asked for that yet. Or maybe they haven't, I just haven't heard about it. But yeah, that was interesting. Let's see. The East Coast, okay, this is when you were traveling on the Cabot Trail. So the East Coast was mostly clear, no smoke while there. Hurricane Lee was approaching while traveling north, part of PEI. Luckily, it became a post-tropical storm at landfall on southern New Brunswick. If Trudeau won, hopefully he won some clarity. But it wasn't a good day for Mr. Trudeau. Enid says, good afternoon, everyone. All right. Larry says, I heard some political guy got arrested or something in Canada. What's that about? I don't know. I did not see anything about that. But yeah. Al says, Polyev reminds me of a Trump wannabe. Ooh. I don't know if it's that. I mean, here's the thing with Polyev. So Polyev started before he even became the leader of the conservatives. He was basically that guy who always made the snarky comments at Trudeau. And that won him a lot of popularity because, a lot of his comments were pretty much memeable. And then he went from there. He won the Conservative Party. Um, he showboats. He does showboat. It'll be interesting to see if if well not if when they win, it'll be interesting to see how exactly he handles being prime minister. Will he sort of put aside a lot of that showboat part and some of the silly things like going triple the tax and things like that? If he puts that aside, so we'll have to see. I think he will. I think he will. I think it's one of those situations, but we could all be wrong, and maybe he does become a little more Trump-like. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. And Al says, I am not a fan of Trump. He is too condescending. Yeah. Here's the thing with the American election. No offense to Trump, no offense to Biden, but they're both too old. They are really, really too old to be in one of the most stressful jobs in the world. And if anything, even if it's just for their own health, they shouldn't be in there. Because have you noticed this? You can take a young-looking, brand new American president, this happened to Obama, and you can throw them into that pressure cooker. And by the time they come out, holy banana breads, they look a lot older than the time they spent in, whether it be 4 or 8 years. Like Obama, I noticed you could see that job, you could see the stress. You could see that it stressed him. You could see the aging on him from that. And same thing with Trump. Trump came in, and now if you look at Trump now as he's running, gosh, I've seen some of his interviews as well and some of his rallies. I've seen clippets from some of it, and I'm like, what the hell is he even talking about? So yeah, I don't know. I would just, and here's the thing. I mean, I think the only other really third alternative is RJK Jr. And he's talking about having a worm in his brain and things like that. I'm like, seriously, um, can't you guys get some better candidates? Get some younger folks. Maybe this will be the last election for the old farts, and maybe you can bring in some younger contenders. In 2028. Hopefully. 9 says, let's see, you're probably thinking of a news reporter who got arrested for asking Chrystia Freeland questions. Maybe. Yeah. And it's funny, even like just before I go to Mario, even one of the things I've noticed in Canada is our elections used to be pretty tame. But I've noticed that, since the Trump era in the States, our elections are getting a little more, and our politics are getting a little more decisive, diversive. And if you watch Canadian interview, like if you go to a news conference, the politicians will almost never answer the question that's asked of them. Almost never. They will have a talking point that they will come up with, and they'll bring it up over and over again without actually addressing the question being asked. And I'm seeing this over and over again. So it gets to the point, and this happens in the House of Commons during question period. Like Poilievre will ask something of Trudeau, and Trudeau will again talk about how the Liberal Party is doing this and this and this that has nothing to do with the question asked. And then he may throw something at Poilievre, and Poilievre will then start basically talking about his question that he wanted from Trudeau. And so it's almost to the point that nothing gets accomplished in these question periods. It's like, why even have them at this point? Because nobody's answering questions anymore. And, I think that's kind of one of those things in the U.S. And the U.S., it gets pretty cutthroat down there, but we're moving in that direction. No doubt about it. Trump is going to make America great again. Well, what happened the first time? And, why couldn't he have made America great in the first 4 years? does he need a second 4 years? All right. Larry says, whoever it was, they said something about Trudeau and got arrested. It depends on what you say. Like if you actually utter a threat, for example, and I don't know what was said, so don't think I'm saying this person did that. It's hard to say. But if you actually utter a threat, a death threat, or or you're going to do something illegal, yeah, you'll get arrested. I mean, and you should absolutely. Maybe Obama's wife should run. Yeah, absolutely. Or even Oprah. I don't know how old Oprah is now, but when I first heard that there was talk about Oprah, I was like, oh yeah, she'd be interesting. You know, uh, interesting in one way or not. But then again, I think at this point it's like maybe not a celebrity. Let's just find somebody who's like somebody in, let's say, their 40s or 50s. I'd be happy right now. I would just be happy if we chose somebody in their 40s and 50s, just to get a little bit of younger perspective in there. And also, I mean, look at it this way: we're in a world where things are changing big, and when I'm talking big, I'm talking things like AI. Do you want somebody in there who actually understands what's going on with these technology changes? Who, or do you want somebody who's like, who's like in their late 70s and they're like, I like it the way it used to be in the olden days. It's one of these things. Like Sammer, you're right. So there should be a 70-year-old age limit to be a president. And I mean, and here's the thing. Even if it's just to run. So if you're 69, sure, go ahead. We can get 4 years out of you, but you wouldn't be allowed to run for a second term because then you would be past that 70 years. I would be on board with that 100%. And we got King a Day in the house. Hello, good to see you. And let's see, vote Trump, make arrested great again. Yeah, it's one of these things. Larry says the people yearn for a dictatorship. Well, I don't know about that. Even if they did yearn for a dictatorship, I'm sure they could find a better dictator. Prairie says politicians will only answer a question directly when it makes their own party look good. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. Politicians tend to not, just to not do what's good. But here's the thing. Now, from an investing standpoint, Polyev and the conservatives are probably going to be better for stocks. Down in the US, Trump would probably be better for stocks as well. So that's just something to put in there. But, you got to look at the whole picture. Like, I mean, sure, I would like to have leadership that is going to, stimulate the stock market a little bit. But I don't want to pay the price of, just, I don't know. I don't even know what we're looking at. So if we look at Polyev, so if he comes in, here's the things I'm hoping. I'm hoping he doesn't cut everything that the liberals threw in. So, for example, I think dental care, free dental care, I think we always should have had that. So don't kill the dental care. You could certainly axe the gas, the carbon tax if you really want to, but even then, that will indirectly hurt the lower income people. Who, like if you're a low income Canadian and you don't have a car, you're probably making more from the tax rebate than what you're getting. So from the carbon rebate, than what you're actually paying out extra when it comes to the carbon. But that's just like I said, that's just pretty much the lower echelon. So once you start getting higher money, then it starts to sort of even out. And once of course, if you're in the upper echelon, you're paying more than, basically some of that money that you're paying is of course going to help people at the bottom. So, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we'll have to see. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what he does first. He probably will axe the carbon tax though, just because that's been like a core thing that they've reiterated over and over again. So I definitely see that happening. All right. Larry says, I only like Trump because of all of my oil, natural gas, and energy companies in my portfolio. There we go. Absolutely. That's exactly kind of that thing. So as investors, a lot of times we like the conservative governments because they do tend to like a lot of the investments that we're in. They don't do silly things like, play around with capital tax. But we'll have to see. Nine says, yeah, I vote for economics and tax cuts so my portfolio does better. I have a feeling a lot of us probably definitely weigh heavily on our investing side when it comes to who we're going to vote for at the polls. Mario says, all I want is other countries to finally give Canada money. Oh, yes, I know. It's one of those things. It's one of those things. I'm going to have another sip of coffee on that one. Yeah, it really, giving money on the global scene, yeah. It feels bad when you're like looking at our debt and you're like, okay, oh, we're giving this much to these group or this much to that group. But here's the thing. If you never give money, then your reputation goes to mud pretty fast on the world stage. So you kind of have to. I don't think you have to go crazy, but you do have to help out a little bit because if there ever were a situation, and I'll give you an example. Let's say the big one happens off of Vancouver Island, and our west coast is devastated. Vancouver's devastated. Victoria. Those a lot of countries in the world are going to be coming to help us. There's no doubt about it. That's what happens when you have a big disaster, and that's kind of that whole thing. So there will be that opportunity. Hopefully not in our lifetime. Hopefully that doesn't happen for at least another couple hundred years. But there are situations where that has happened. If you want to go to the East Coast, back during World War I, you had the Halifax explosion. So Halifax was devastated when two ships collided in the harbor. One of them completely full of explosives for the war, and it was a massive explosion. It wrecked part of the city. It caused a tsunami. It caused a lot of devastation. But here's the funny thing. Aid and help that got to the city first was from Boston. It wasn't from the Canadian government. It was from Boston. They sent up supplies. They sent up doctors. So they were the first in there, and they saved a ton of people. Hence, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but every year, Halifax sends a giant Christmas tree to Boston, and it's actually lit up, on one of the main squares in Boston, and there's little plaques and everything all around it to sort of commemorate that event. But that's kind of that big thank you. So it goes both ways. But you need to have something happen. So, and not to say that we want something to happen so Canada can get some help and some money, but it's just one of those things that it does happen. Mario says, Trump says, drill, baby, drill. Yeah. Oh, dear. And Jonathan says, as much as I want my portfolio to do well, I don't mind government spending on social programs. I don't want to live in a country full of poor, dumb, and angry people. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of these things. It's like there should be programs that are that should never be touched or cut. So, I think dental, for example, it's a new program, but I think it's a good program. I've always been surprised that we didn't have that. If we have medical care, but then we let everybody's teeth fall out. And the funny thing is, severely bad teeth can cause medical issues that then get covered under OHIP or MSI or whatever. So that would definitely be something. Mario says, I want free eye testing. Eat a lot of sugar, Mario. Eat a lot. Don't do that. But if you're diabetic, you can actually get some. I think once a year you can get free eye testing. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of supports out there that I think should be enshrined. So, for example, people with disabilities, I don't think they're given enough money to survive. A lot of support. So that's something I would say, yeah, let's send them more money that way. But then let's, of course, we'll look, and this is where that Polyev idea, like, for every dollar spent, we're going to find a dollar to save. There's tons of things out there that you can definitely save money from. Just don't pull it from social programs that are actually doing well. So, just something to keep, just my two parts on that. King of Day says, all I want is the IRS to not tax my FTSA dividend. Can we make that happen, please? Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. I think the reasoning behind it is that when you have a dividend, when it goes into your RRSP, right, you are going to get taxed on that. That's why it's in the treaty. That's why they're not doing it, because the whole thing they're avoiding is double taxation. When you put it into your your FTSA, your TFSA. I'm like, what? Why does that feel wrong saying FTSA? And when you put it into your TFSA, well, it's not been taxed. So when the IRS comes in and says, yeah, we're taking our 15%, Canada can't come back and say, well, we're going to be taxing that too. We can't have double taxation, because there's no double taxation. There's no taxation on our side. That's why the IRS is able to tax in there. And that's why the TFSA will never be looked at from the US as being a kind of a tax treaty registered account. So it's never going to happen, because that's what all of the tax treaties are about. They're all about avoiding double taxation, because it's not fair to pay the US 15% and then pay Canada 15% or whatever it works out to income-wise. So that's what they're all about. Now, when you have a country that does not have a tax treaty with Canada, you can sometimes run into situations where there can be double taxation. But luckily, a lot of countries have those tax treaties, so we're definitely okay. Kevin and Kaz says, I agree with Mario. Vic says, why so many cars need premium? Even Honda Civics, some trims. Good question. I don't know. Oh, yes. Here we go. Here's a lovely thing that I wish we could have gotten rid of before we even tried to create it. The ArriveCan app. Oh, I pray that no more money is going into that it's just been retired 100%. That was a bad one. Yeah, exactly. TFSA. Sammer says, I prefer to pay for everything and don't pay any tax. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with keeping the tax down. Jordan says, mostly because the engines are designed to run on that high of an octane to produce the power. Also, there are more solvents in the higher octane, making the engine run cleaner too. There we go. Well, that's awesome. I did not know that. So thank you, Jordan. 9 says, yeah, some of my US T-bills get taxed by the IRS. Yeah, the good old IRS. You gotta love nobody loves the IRS, but unless you work for them, maybe then you love them. I don't know. Let's see. US government only recognizes registered accounts. Exactly. So, and like I said, even though in Canada, the TFSA is considered registered, by the tax treaty, it's not. The tax treaty does not recognize it as a registered account. Ambess says, when retirement planning, should it be best to not count on these benefits such as GIS, free dental? Could these be taken away or amount lessened? Thanks. Everything will change. That's kind of the rule that will happen. So you always want to, so for example, with the GIS, when you're looking at the GIS, yeah, right now you can probably rely on it. I don't see it going away anytime soon, unless, and where we're going to go, we'll go farther ahead. So this is some speculation, but eventually when we get to the time when AI becomes much more prominent than it is now, and it starts replacing workers, as everybody sort of suspects, at that point, we're probably going to start moving towards something called universal basic income. When that happens, things like GIS, OAS, EI, even probably, well, maybe not CPP. CPP might still stick around, but a lot of these supports are just going to disappear. And why would you keep them? Because everybody's now getting this guaranteed income. And by removing all of these different types of supports, you're basically getting rid of a lot of administration. So that some of the money that you're saving from all of that redundancy, some of that money is going to help pay for your GIS, your UBI. But when is that going to happen? Who knows? Who knows? We don't know. It really boils down to how fast everything happens. And when you listen to the AI companies, always keep in mind all of the dates that they're throwing at you. It's probably going to take at least twice as long as what they think. So I wouldn't count on it. I think the GIS, or the Guaranteed Income Supplement, that'll be around for a while. So, it's one of these things. Now, free dental care, that's hard to say. Once Polyev gets in 2025, if he doesn't axe it, then it's probably safe. Because the NDP will never axe it. Not like the NDP would ever get into power. The Liberals absolutely will never axe it. So the only one who possibly could axe it would be the Conservatives. So if it survives, then we're good. Or if he would at least come out and say, yeah, that's one we're not going to cut. He hasn't addressed that, at least not in that way that I've heard of. So yeah, we definitely have to see. Let's see. Larry says, staring out my window, waiting for my new laptop bought with my DJT money, using a business write-off to hide from taxes. Ooh, nice. Any chance it's a MacBook? Just throwing that out there. That's the pro Mac person here coming out at you. Al says, I've never heard of GIS. So yeah, Guaranteed Income Supplement, or GIS. It's basically an additional support for low-income seniors. So if you're making less than a certain threshold, you're provided some extra money so that you can survive. And that's basically what it is. It's support for low-income seniors. Mario says, yes, I want universal income ASAP. There we go. Bismarcky's in the house. Good afternoon, all. Better late than never. Kevin and Cass says, I don't understand why the U.S. doesn't recognize the TFSA as registered. It's not like I can open a Roth or any of the U.S. tax savings account as somebody born in the U.S. Once again, it goes back to the fact that you're not getting taxed twice. So the IRS can tax you, and that's the reason, because there's no tax. Now, if the Canadian government taxed stuff in the TFSA, then it would be considered registered by the U.S. Sort of like, because everything you put into your RRSP, you're going to pay tax on the entire lot of it when you pull it out. So that's the reason they do that. Excuse me. Mario says, let's see, if Trudeau offers it for the next election, he's got my vote. There we go. There we go. I don't think we're there yet. What are the requirements for GIS? Basically, it's an income threshold. If you make less than, and I'm trying to think, I don't know that I'd have to look the number up directly, but it's somewhere just over 20,000. It might be somewhere between 20 and 26,000, somewhere in that zone. If you make less than that, then you can get this additional monthly income. All right. Mario says, let's see, I want free glasses, free dentures. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Candace, for the GIS knowledge. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys, time to get your last questions in. We're coming up on the end, and we've only got one of those super. So if you guys want a Friday stream, yeah, you got to hustle a little bit. We still need 3 more for that. But get the questions in. I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee here while I start seeing some questions. I already see some stuff starting to pile in. Good stuff. Good stuff, Jonathan. Ooh, that's good. Okay, Jonathan says, does UBI mean we can all just quit our jobs? I have a feeling that when it gets implemented, UBI will be enough to pretty much just exist on. It probably won't be much more than that. So you probably will still want to, at the very least, have a couple side hustles, or, you may not have to have a big job, but you may definitely want to have like a side hustle or something at the very least. And I also think a lot of people, just because the government's giving you a money all the time, I don't think everybody and their dog is going to want to sit around and just do nothing, because that will get boring very, very fast. Oh, look at this. We get ourselves another super sticker coming in from Mary. I gotta look on my other screen to see what it is. Ooh, it's a suitcase. Love it, love it, love it. So we just need 2 more if you guys want that Friday stream. All right, where was I? Let's see. Yeah, 9 says UBI at this time would cause inflation, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. So UBI, it's not going to just sort of drop in the way it is now. We're going to get to a situation where we have to sort of figure out AI, and especially once we start getting robots in on the mix. So it all will have to be worked out, because we don't want to have a point where we have inflation. Now, I've heard a lot of different theories. I've heard ones where robots would actually get paid, and that money would then go into UBI, and that would be used to pay everybody else. So, and that would that to me makes a lot of sense, because that way there, maybe if you look at your corporations, your big corporations, if they all of a sudden got free robots, they're saving a ton of money. So if they have to pay a salary to them, that could definitely go to fund, UBI or whatever it's all going to evolve into. So we have to sort of see how this goes. It's going to be really interesting, that's for sure. Sammer says to get GIS, you have to qualify for OAS. Yeah, exactly. You can't get GIS without having OAS, so the old age security. So it is in there as well. All right. Al Bundy says, I bet I can live off of 26K a year. Well, keep in mind, that's 26K Canadian. So American-wise, that's probably about 20K, somewhere in that vicinity. What is UBI? So UBI is Universal Basic Income. Oh, we got a dividend that came in from the Banana Bread Company. Awesome. Thank you, Banana Bread Company. So that puts us 1 away. So 1 more super, and we got the Friday. There's lots of questions to keep me going here for a bit. So you got a couple moments, that's for sure. All right. And 9 answered, yeah, Universal Basic Income. Remember to hit the like button. Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know how many likes we've got right now, but hit the like button. It's the algorithm likes it, all of that fun stuff. You guys know. You guys have been around the block long enough to know about the like button. How is REITs going to do? Apartments. REITs, I think, are going to do okay. So here's the thing. I am actually, this is kind of neat. I did add 2 shares of RMAX to the 0 to 100K challenge. So you'll get to see that, of course, as well. So I know why this challenge is kind of an American-focused one. But because RMAX came out during the thing, I wanted to at least get my foot in there. So RMAX, by the way, that's the new Hamilton REIT, their REIT income fund. So I've looked at it. They got a lot of great REITs in there, and they've also got some REITs in the US as well. So I was happy with what I saw, and I have a feeling it's going to do well, especially as rates start to come down. We may have had a bad CPI, and maybe, and hopefully we don't get a cut on July, but I do think the second half of the year is going to be good for REITs, and 2025 will be really good for REITs. So I expect some goodness out of RMAX, and of course the REITs. Like I've also have RioCan and Timber Creek Financial, which is not technically a REIT, but you might as well call them a REIT. Let's see. Oilers 50-50 climbed to 21 million. Wow. This I thought was insane. So I didn't watch the game. I listened to the game. This guy has a YouTube channel where he basically rebroadcasts a local radio station coming out of Edmonton. And they had mentioned this 50-50 being over 21 million. And I was like, what? How do you get a 50-50 above 21 million? Now, I'm thinking that they probably had to have opened it beyond the province. So I'm wondering if it was pretty much anybody in the world could get in on this 50-50 maybe, but 21 million. So think about it. Whoever wins that, that's pretty much 10.5 million for them at least. So that's not too shabby. All right. Jordan says, be an algorithm freedom fighter and smash that thumbs up. Yeah, exactly. Don't let the algorithm win. We determine it all, not the algorithm. Just take them out. All right. AFF. Be an AFF and smash the like button. Algorithm Freedom Fighter. There we go. What is Oilers 50-50? Is that a lottery? So the Oilers 50-50. So the Oilers, Edmonton Oilers, the Stanley Cup final that had just recently happened happened Monday night. They were playing against the Florida Panthers. Florida ended up winning. But basically, it was just a 50-50 draw offered by, I don't know if it was the Oilers, if it was the Oilers themselves that offered it, but it was kind of a theme around that hockey game. So basically, whatever you bought. So if you bought it, let's say the tickets were $10 each. So basically, $5 would go into the pot, and $5 would go into whoever was organizing and running it. So it's 50-50. They split whatever money comes in, it gets split in half, and the big winner gets one half. So it's kind of, and it is a lottery because you'll have like a ticket number, and then they'll make a draw. So anyway, it's kind of cool. Let's see here. Actas says Armax is Remax on the NASDAQ. That's kind of funny. That is kind of funny. So yeah, and up here it's a REIT. Well, not a REIT. It's actually an ETF. It's not a cash ETF, but a yield ETF for REITs. And Vic says, yeah, they sell tickets online for games. Must be in Alberta. Oh, you had to be in Alberta? Okay. Wow, that's really impressive. All right, Kevin Kaz has come in again. Another super sticker with a thanks. I love that. That's so classy. We get a Friday stream, so we're gonna have our bonus stream on Friday. You guys came through once again. You guys are rocker. You guys, I was gonna say rockers. I mean rock stars. There we go. So it's an Oilers charitable foundation. So in other words, even though they get half of the pot, it's all going to charity. So that's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Now Vic, of course, is in Alberta, so definitely somebody who knows a lot more about it than those of us outside of Alberta. Sammer says Bolivia's military accused of a coup attempt. It is happening now. One more international crisis. Holy banana bread. Yeah, we'll have to see how that rolls out. But yikes. Yeah. Now when it comes to international crises, though, I don't think this will be a huge one, but still really interesting. Vic says, I bought 250 tickets for $50, didn't win. Oh, wow. Jonathan says, love the Friday streams. I know, it's nice to have a stream at the end of the week. And this is the Canada Day weekend stream. So, I may have to, the Bear and the Bull may have to bring a maple leaf with them for this one. So this is going to be fantastic. All right, guys, we've gone an hour, 10 minutes. You guys have been awesome. We are back on Friday, bonus stream. We also have the international ETF, thanks to the channel members. That's coming on Friday as well. And enjoy your weekend. We will still be on the air on Sunday, even though it is a long weekend. We'll be here. It'll be fantastic. We'll have another great stream. What time are the Friday stream and bonus stream? Well, yeah, the stream on Friday is going to be the same time, 3:45. We start, and we usually go for an hour, maybe a little bit longer than an hour. Really depends on you guys. I keep on going. I keep on going. It's actually funny. I think we had. Mary says, "Thank you, great as always." I was gonna say one of our recent this week on Sunday. One of them actually got really close to 3 hours, and I was like, "Holy banana bread!" But you know what? It was all you guys. You guys were just throwing in the questions, and that's always great. That's always great. But soon enough, keep in mind, in July, we're gonna be getting, I have no doubt, we will be getting that open to close, and that will be a full day stream. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be epic. It will be epic, and luckily, there will be a replay for that one as well, because as long as you don't go, I think it's 8 hours, something like that. So we'll be just under their limit. So we will be good. We will be good. All right. And we're going to end it on King a Day. an awesome member of the chat. Thank you as always, Candace. Thank you, King of Day, and thank you everyone else for coming. You guys rock. We will see you on Friday. Take care, everybody.